Fucking hell. So I whipped the GoPro out for this one. So I've cleaned the accumulator out. Engine's coming back tomorrow, so I'm going to get it all in and everything, but I just wanted to get some oil back in the accumulator, so just before I start it I can open it up and it's gonna pretty much pre-oil the engine. So I've made up this little conglomeration here where I'm pouring oil in the funnel, and I've got my brake vacuum pump at the other end of the accumulator. So I'm going to create vacuum here and just try and suck maybe a quart or 1.5 quarts of oil into here, and then I'll seal this back off, put the valve back in, and then I'll probably put maybe, I don't know, 70 psi in it, so that when I open up the electric solenoid here, it's just going to shoot the oil straight in the engine. Then I can start cranking, just in case the thing doesn't start straight away, which generally happens. So, and today is the day. The donkey's back. Got a brand new excess volt alternator. I think it was 160 or 180 amp, somewhere around there. It's actually got an adjustable voltage regulator on it. Everything else is pretty much the same on this. So it's still 598 cubic inches. Same engine block, same sump. It's had some repairs from where the rod hit. 903 lifter boards with, you know, BAM lifters. They're bush lifters. Had to get a new cam, new rods, new callies crank, Oliver Max conrods, J pistons. Heads got reconditioned, got flowed, put on a flow bench. Originally I was going to put the heads off the engine that was going to go on this. We were going to try put them on this motor because they flowed better on the flow bench, which were the Edelbrock Victor heads. They actually flowed heaps better than the AFR heads, but the valves ended up hitting the piston, so the piston and the valve was out on them. So we just put these original heads back on. Had to get some new valves because some were bent. Had to get a new one of these ordered in because it actually started to like lock the cam up, and it literally, the keyway in here tried to start turning in the aluminium, so it literally destroyed everything. I think six of 8 had to replace 2 titanium intake valves because 2 were bent, and there was like pretty much all the exhaust valves are bent. So heads all reconditioned. Still got the original valve springs. They've still got 320 pound on the seat, and they've been in this motor for ages, like 3 years now. So valve springs have just been holding up really good. And just the Jesel Sportsman Series rockers. The nitrous direct port, me 400 jetted for 450 horsepower, and I just run it with an MSD Digital 7. Had to do some new leads because there was a fire down here and it melted all these, so I had to just do 4 new plug leads for the left side of the motor. That's it. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to dummy fit this in the ute. I just want to sit the engine in. This is MCFRY's bonnet, but I just sat it on the ute the other day. But I just want to sit the engine in and make sure that the rocker cover is going to miss the wiper motor. And if it hits the wiper motor, I'm just going to have to take the wiper motor out of this and have no wipers, but it's just something I want to double check. And then I've got to put the vacuum pump on. It runs off here. I've got a crankcase vacuum pump. It goes on here. And that's pretty much it. This is the big Morozzo pan with a kick out on the side here. Took a bit of clearancing on the cross member to get that bad boy in there. And I just got some goodies in there, so that's it. Parts are very slow at the moment, so there's like a 5-month wait on the conrods. But it's all good. It's back together. Thanks to Brad. So, and Brad's going to work on the big block for this. And maybe, if I'm lucky, around January, have it back and can start dummying that in the ute and getting all the other stuff right. So, have to just wait and see. Depends on parts and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I'm going to start doing stuff. So I've just got some little chores to do with a Dizzy. Replacing the rotor key button, whatever it's called. I've got another one here that just a little bit better. Brad just noticed that it's starting to chew away at the corner here, because obviously once this is phased, the ignition's kind of sparking at this edge here, and then when the nitrous comes on, it sparks over this side. So when the nitrous, the timing gets pulled out, it'll go from sparking on this sort of edge here, and then it'll jump all the way back to here. So that's the rotor phasing. And just changed around where the leads are going. So how do we get a new? I had a new cap here. There's the old one, and I just changed pretty much where all the wires are going. So had to drill another hole just above there so that I can phase the rotor. Pretty much you point the timing light down here and you can see exactly where it's firing on the pin thingy. So I'm going to put this bad boy on. Just double checking that little folds there's right. Going to chuck this one on. Put some Loctite in because it always friggin' comes undone. So I'm going to put Loctite in here. Screw that down. Put the new cap on. Put the leads back on. And starter motor. I just run a CVR starter motor in this one. The 3.5 horsepower one, I believe it is. So I'll get that on. I'll clean it up first. Put that on. Clean up the headers. Had to do a bit of bang bang here. Couple Michael Jacksons. So let's clean up this face with a grinder. They've got to sit in the car when the motor goes in, because I didn't do slip-on collectors when I did these pipes, so they're a nightmare. So I pretty much got to lay them in the engine bay and then try and slot this down. It's painful. Alright, so I had to get my neighbour down the road, Daniel, to come up, help me push the ute out the back and get the car in. Had to lift it up on the hoist and push the ute under the car to get it to there, because I couldn't get one of the headers on because I needed to lift it up on the hoist. I just got to do the throttle cable, fill it up with oil, and that's it. Fire it up and hope I didn't miss anything. Fucking hell. Happens a lot on E85. Alright, so that first video I did, I had a bad oil leak. And this is the oil accumulator hose, which had obviously got burnt. But after having a bit of a look, this is where it was leaking from. Let me turn the light on. Look at that. So it's like the hose pushed out of the fitting. So now I'm starting to wonder if this was actually my oil leak that I had on the burnout pad, because that would have been, it was leaking pretty bad. As you can see, it leaked probably 500 mils out, something like that. I had it running for like probably a minute before I noticed the bad oil leak. So that is a problem. I don't know how long it's been like that for either. But I put a new hose on and it's fixed that. I'll check my clear view tomorrow when it cools down a bit because it's freaking hot. and everything has been perfect. So the run-in for the lifters was to hold it at like 2000 RPM roughly for 20 minutes. But my thermo fans shit a relay. It's the second time it's happened now. I really need to I'll turn this off. I really need to rewire this car, but I just don't have time. And while it's running, I just keep doing quick fixes, so I'm going to put a new relay in again. I've got a 30 amp relay powering the two fans, which probably draw like 30 amps, 32 amps, and the relays just tend to, they last a little bit. Like I did a power cruise and probably get 2 power cruises, so it's not too bad. But I'm going to put a new relay in, fix the fans. So I probably had it running for like 10 minutes, roughly, maybe 15. But then the temperature got up to like 200 Fahrenheit, so I had to switch it off. Another thing too, I don't have a thermostat in this, but I'm going to have to put one back in it because I noticed after running there's water in this tank and it's meant to circulate around here, but because I took the thermostat out, it doesn't put enough pressure in the system to actually circulate the water through the tank. So I'm going to have to put a thermostat in so that the water tank does its job properly. Fix the relay for the thermos. Give it a wheel alignment after the suspension change. You can see it's actually sitting a bit higher than what it used to with the motor in it, but that'll probably sag down probably another inch after a bit of driving because the big block is heavy, and that's what happened with the last springs. It just started sagging after a while. So it should sag to a nice height. Timing was on 32 degrees, so very happy. My baby is going again. And that's all the rust out of the exhaust. It's like the E85. And it just rusts everything out. I've actually got rust holes in the exhaust system now, so might need to patch them up at some point. Well, this will be a wrap up. I am very happy, and also happy that I found this hose problem. The hose was kind of melted, but a little, but I thought I'd just reuse it because it didn't look that bad, but obviously it had burst on the end, so it's a good pickup. Alrighty, I'll wrap this up now. Thanks for watching, and MCFRY will be at SUMMERNATS.